It is. We're excited to get started. It's been a long time coming. Had a great camp. Excited about getting started this season. It's game week. Our approach all camp long was to have a great camp, come out of it better, come out of it healthy, which we're able to do. And now it's game week, so we're anxious to get started here come this Saturday.
You've mentioned throughout camp with your guys that the focus has been to get ready for the season. And now that focus is getting ready for Kansas. But all in all, how much does that approach never really change in terms of it's always on what you guys are doing here day to day, even though there may be a lot new with your opponent, but that doesn't really matter because it's what you guys do day to day here throughout the week.
You know, I thought our team really bought into what we were doing on how we practice, how we take care of each other, how we stayed off the ground. Went into camp with 3 guys out for the season, which we knew about. We had a couple guys get injured maybe at the end of spring or in the summertime. We went into the season with 3 guys out for the season, came out of camp with the same 3 guys. And it was the way we practiced. It was the way we took care of one another. It's the way we took care of ourselves. That they bought in that we're going to need everybody this season, and to prepare for a season we needed everybody, and that's exactly how we came out of camp.
I know time and time you really like your team, not just your 2 main leaders, but in your time as a coach, have you ever been somewhere where really your 2 main leaders are also your 2 best players and those 2 best guys just happen to be your quarterback and linebacker?
Well, no, I haven't, and I think this is unique. This is a very positive thing. We've got 2 outstanding captains, 2 great leaders, Ryan Boyle being our quarterback. I've been places where our quarterback's been our leader, maybe been our captain. I've been places where you had a middle linebacker that was your leader and maybe your captain, but never the same, never the 2 in the same year. So I really like our leadership there with our middle linebacker and our quarterback. But again, we've got great leadership. We've got leadership across the board. We've got leadership in every room. I couldn't say this a year ago or 2 years ago. We've got leaders in every room, whether it be the D-line room with Michael Gant and Cade Perrott and Caleb Brewer and Noah Kamala, in the linebacker room with Jonas Griffith and Clayton Glasgow. In the secondary room, you got Khalif Copeland, Makai Ware, Michael Thomas. In the special teams room, you got Jerry Nunez, Wyatt Harwood, Travis Reiner. Quarterback room, we talked about with Ryan Boyle. The offensive line, all 5 offensive linemen have played significant. They're all 5th-year seniors. Our running back with Titus McCoy and Peterson Curligran. Our wide receivers with Dante Hendricks and Rontrez Morgan. And you see that leadership, Zach Larkin in the tight end room. So we got leaders in every room, and that's what it's going to take. Yeah, we have 2 guys elected captains, but when you walk into a room, you see that in every position room.
You mentioned just having that leadership in every position room. Where do you see that impact your team the most in terms of, yeah, you may have 2 main leaders, but what is it when you guys get to a practice? Maybe it's how the scout team runs, to a lot of other examples. What does having so many leaders really do for your team this year, and where you maybe see your team having an edge this year where it hasn't been the past 2 years?
Well, we always talk about the expectation being at the position. And when you can walk into a position room and say, hey, this is the expectation. You know, we've had some really, really good tight ends here at Indiana State, whether it be Robert Tonyan, whether it be Jaquette McClendon. That's the expectation. We've had really good running backs in the program. You can go back, you know, obviously Jaquan Keys, but that's the expectation. When you walk into a room and you talk about that expectation, they know exactly what you're talking about. And if somebody, knock on wood, goes down, they know that guy's going to come in there, and we can't lose a step. We did that at running back last year. We picked it up, and although you never want a young man to go down, the expectation, whoever's in there, we got to keep going. And so you see that with your leadership, and that's certainly what this program has developed into, and it starts with the leadership in every room. The other thing I'll say, too, is I've never been anywhere where I've seen our scout team go and perform it the way they have this past week. I couldn't tell the difference between the 2 scout teams, other than the fact that maybe one was a little bit more skill set. But as far as the effort and how they were playing, I mean, you saw a defensive scout team flying around, coming off the ball, running the ball, tagging off, bursting to the ball. And, yeah, the offense was having success. They should. But you know what? As far as the tempo and the effort, I couldn't tell the difference. That's what you want. That's how you practice. And that's how I've seen our team practice.
It's probably a question I'm going to ask to you multiple times throughout the week, but you made it no secret since you started here. It's all going to start with running the football. That's what's going to be the key for this team to have success. But you've also said you want to see improvement in the passing game this year too. How do you balance those two as a coach of, you maybe want your bread and butter to be running the football, but also you got some really talented guys that Ryan Boyle can throw to, whether it's Dante Hendricks, Rontrez Morgan. I mean, you can go on and on that list. You got a really deep wide receiver room too.
We do, and there's no question we're always going to start with running the football. But if we can't run the football, we still got to be able to win the game. And we still got to be able to throw the football. And we have to make drastic improvement in the throw game. And I feel that we have. I think the biggest improvement on this team right now is in our throw game, being able to throw the football. And there may be games where we have to throw it all over the lot and win a football game. And there may be games where we're just going to run the football. And then there are games where we're a little bit balanced. But nonetheless, we've got to be able to do, and you're never going to be equally as good, but you got to be able to do them just as efficient as the other. And I really feel that this team has improved mostly. We're going to see the most improvements in our throw game.
I know you have said time and time again about running the football and the importance of that. Last year, of course, Jaquan was huge asset, and just a shame that he missed those last 4 games. He still led the league in rushing touchdowns despite missing those last 4 games. But 2 guys who did see action last year, Titus McCoy and Peterson Curligran, they're 1 and 2 on your depth chart. What have those guys done in the offseason to make that next step, to be ready for this year when you know the bulk of what you guys want to do? It's not all on them. It's the offensive line. It's everybody together. But a big bulk of the offense having success will be on their shoulders too.
Absolutely. Those 2 have worked tremendously hard. I'll start with Titus McCoy. Titus McCoy played a significant amount of reps. We played 3 running backs probably every game. Maybe 1 carried it a little bit more. And that was Jaquan. And then all of a sudden maybe Christian Covington a little bit. And all of a sudden it's Titus McCoy. A good part of the season last year. So he's played a significant amount of reps. Titus brings energy every day. I always look at how they practice and correlate that with they love football, And Titus McCoy comes out every day. He loves football. He loves to practice. He loves everything about football. He loves training. He loves being in meetings. He loves everything. Brings energy, brings juice. But it's contagious when you're around a young man like that. So anxious to watch him play this year. Peterson Curligran has been a little bit further down the depth chart. He's waited his time. He's been an unselfish player. We've moved him to defense. We've moved him back to offense. He's got a high skill set. He's played a significant amount of reps on special teams. His number was called in the Western Illinois game. Did an admirable job. And we're expecting him to have another great year as well.
All starts up front. You said that time and time again since you've been here. The rarity of just having 5 redshirt seniors back, and also the rarity of even guys who maybe haven't started their whole career, maybe like a Mason Fleckler, but he's been around these guys. I mean, just the continuity at that position, and maybe why that position group is the most important to have continuity at.
Well, I think, all 5 guys got to be on the same page. It's you can argue the same thing in the secondary. Those guys all got to be on the same page. And the continuity, staying healthy, we were able to do that a year ago. Not as much our first year. But when you saw those guys playing as one, you saw a lot of success happening. And all these guys are back. And we've got 5 guys. You mentioned Mason Fleckler, who's having a really good camp. We're excited about the 5 guys that are returning. And not only being leaders on this football team, but obviously leading the way offensively.